welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Yug.
And I'm Matt.
Tonight we're talking about Microsoft buying soccer.
The Leipzig Games Convention 2006.
Texas Hold'em on the Xbox Live.
Sony slips one into the pink.
Yeah, and we asked the question, will Wii games be too exhausting?
Alright, we're gonna jump back to the Sony thing because we just deliberately made that dirty. It wasn't supposed to be dirty, but
is that dirty?
Well, you know fully well it's supposed to be.
Why? Why is that dirty? I mean,
I'll explain later after we finish doing the podcast.
It's just talking about pink. It's just it's
the
colour. I don't understand.
Yeah, he wouldn't either. If Guy had anything to do with girls at all, he would probably understand. But
you just called me Guy.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I just find that interesting.
Actually, you know what? The reason for that is because I've been sending businessy sort of emails to and from you with some of the stuff we've been doing, and I've been calling you Guy in that.
You shouldn't. You should call me Yug in that.
But it's not Australian Gamer stuff. It's other stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I've been calling you Guy. And
it's
hard, and I've had to keep that in mind.
I mean, I was about to say for anyone listening.
But you didn't, so let's move on.
I was just going to say, it's interesting because Matt calls me Yug, has always called me Yug.
Always.
And some people find this weird because it's like, Yug's not your real name, it's just a nickname. Well, yeah, but that's still just how I'm known to half of the people I know, sort of thing.
And people calling you by your proper name when they don't normally just sounds weird.
It does.
My sister a while ago called me Matthew, and I find Matthew it's just way too formal. It doesn't suit me at all.
No, not at all. No. No.
So yeah. Anyway, the point of that is Sony are targeting teenage girls, which is interesting because so am I. But apparently Sony are allowed.
Yes, it's legal for them to do that.
Oh, I see. There's a difference.
Yeah. It's legal for them to slip one into the pink of teenage girls.
Dude. Okay, so what they're doing is they're releasing a pink slimline PlayStation 2 and also releasing a pink PSP.
Yeah. Which
I actually think is just really patronising, personally.
What? Why?
Oh, I don't know. It's like a Barbie PlayStation. I mean, not every girl who wants to play, because they're actually releasing it as a bundle with SingStar as well. And not every girl who wants to play SingStar, who wants to have their friends over for a bit of a sing and a karaoke, wants their goddamn console to be pink.
Well, then they can buy it a different colour.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they're targeting, it just seems to me so stereotypically, patronisingly girly. They might as well have put little love hearts and flowers on it as well.
Dude, the GameCube launched and it was purple. Now, they weren't targeting teenage girls, but everyone made fun of the fact that it looked like a console made for teenage.
No, they said for kids. They said for kids.
Yeah, that's right. Colours and the look of a console can define a target audience.
How many girls want a DS?
Probably quite a few.
A white DS.
How many girls want a black DS?
Quite a few, probably.
Yeah, but as in...
And quite a few want a pink DS. I mean, they launched the pink DS in Japan, and it's proven quite successful.
Absolutely. So what's your point?
My point is it just seems kind of patronising, that's all.
So you're saying Nintendo doing it is patronising?
Probably not. I guess there's not really that much difference in the end, but...
No.
I don't know. I to a degree it was, but it just seems like... When Nintendo released the DS in pink, they didn't release it as a girls' package.
They didn't have to.
No, but they just released it as a colour and girls liked it, and that's what it's all about, choice.
Look, I just find it interesting that Sony are trying to downplay the technical and advanced features of their PSP at the moment, and saying, but it's pink.
Yeah, but it's pink.
It's all good. I don't find it patronising because they need to tap into that same market that Nintendo are doing so well for, which is non-gamers.
Non-gamers, casual gamers, and girl gamers, whatever.
Yeah, we talked about this last week and stuff like that. So that's fine. I don't find it patronising at all. They've been doing this for ages. They've been changing the colour and the look of consoles and stuff like that. Admittedly, it's the first time I've heard them actually say, we are changing this colour to target young girls. But I have heard them say, we're changing this colour because the old colour looked crap, or it looked too boring, or we're trying to appeal to more...
Or we're trying to heighten the marketing, or blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
But I just think it's a little patronising to say, yes, we're going to target female young gamers, therefore we're going to make it pink and package it with SingStar. I mean, and of course I have to accept one simple fact: it'll probably work.
Yeah, it will.
It'll probably make them a lot of money.
Right.
It just annoys me.
Why?
Because I choose to be annoyed by anything Sony does lately.
No, you're just annoyed by
I hate
anything.
Sony lately.
Why?
I'm actually really against Sony lately because I've been using the PSP again.
Ah.
And that's just put me offside with Sony to a swearing degree.
When you say using the PSP, do you mean you've been using the PSP or you've been playing games on the PSP?
Both.
There is a difference, I've found.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. In order to play some games, I've had to update the firmware and stuff like that, and that's just reminded me of... Do you know what the PSP's main problem is? By comparison to the DS?
Oh, no, they've solved that.
Yeah, thank God for that. They got that one right. It's software.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about games.
Yeah, I think
the
I know what you're
actual
about to say,
software is the worst consumer software in the world.
But it looks so pretty.
It looks so pretty until you try to make it do anything.
Do you mean when you try and make it do anything, or just do any of the multimedia functions that...
Try to do any sort of multimedia functionality, try to...
Examples. Throw some at me. Some new ones.
Alright, well...
Give me some new problems that you've come into.
Alright, here's an exciting new one. I recently put a new update to the software, which was great, and I was glad to get it, and I had a lot of trouble finding it, then I had a lot of trouble downloading it, then I had to remember how the hell to actually install an update, which is a really difficult process that I've covered before, and unnecessarily difficult for something that should be a double-click update now.
Makes you worry about how these 14-year-old girls with their pink PSPs are going to handle
You know
these
what,
things.
it really does. But anyway, once I got that update installed, there were two things about it that I really liked. One is that you can now play music from the root directory /music rather than /PSP /music, which means you could use the same card in a lot of different devices now because it is readable from other devices. One of the other things I liked is it supports WMA now, which is great because WMA...
That was always a Microsoft proprietary format.
It is a Microsoft format, so it's good to have it supported.
Okay.
And some of my music is WMA, and I haven't been able to listen to it. So I threw up a bunch of WMA songs and went for a wander.
Cool.
Then I found out that they list nicely, and when I went to actually play one, it says, in order to play back WMA files, you must go to System Settings and press Enable WMA Playback.
Yep.
And I thought, it's a bit stupid. Why do I have to enable it? Shouldn't I just downloaded the update? Isn't that what that should do? Anyway, went to the menu, went to update it, and it said, here's a 4-page end-user license agreement. Click through and agree to this. Okay. Why do I have to... Wait!
Okay, sorry.
Then it said, in order to enable WMA Playback, we need to download some software. In order to do that, we need a wireless internet connection. You don't have a wireless internet connection. You can piss off. I can't play WMA files.
Could you download the WMA player thing on a card and put it...
Nope.
Really?
You can only do it through its network download. If someone else knows a way to do it, I couldn't find it, but let me know.
I guess my question is, and the question here is, are these issues arising because of something and the way that Sony's done things, or is this come up because WMA is a Microsoft proprietary format, and in order to actually play it, they would need to have the codec installed on the PSP. They would need to install that codec, which you would think they would have done in the update.
Yes, you really freaking would.
Yeah.
So why didn't they? And I get that maybe because of Microsoft, they might not have been able to. They might not have been allowed to. I do understand that.
My only thought is they wouldn't have been able to enable that until the person had agreed to the end user license on their PSP when they went to enable WMA specific, because maybe they didn't want that to come up for just everyone that installs the update. So it's like only if you want to use the WMA feature, that then they hit you with the end user license, and then because maybe you can't download the codec until you've done that. But that's
I don't care. And even if I do care, I still don't have a wireless internet connection, and I still can't download the goddamn thing.
Here.
It's lovely, and I'm sure it's really a good connection.
It is. It's great.
But I couldn't get it to work at work where there is a wireless connection just floating around, and I couldn't get it to connect.
What?
And the worst thing was the interface for typing stuff into the PSP is the worst interface I've ever seen for entering text. Phones beat it by a long way.
Really?
They don't just have like a QWERTY type interface keyboard, software one that you do. No, it's this weird thing where you go left and then you hit, if you want L, you press like the L button 3 times to get to L, and it's sort of similar to a phone one, but it's actually not as intuitive as that. It's really bad, it's really clumsy, and they have made a public statement that they will not change it.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's terribly clumsy.
But you've got wireless internet floating around. Why does wireless internet float? It
doesn't float.
Doesn't
Whatever. Anyway, I couldn't get it to work. How do I watch a movie on my PSP off my memory stick?
You don't. Screen's too small.
No, but let's say I want to watch an episode of Scrubs. How do I rip a copy? No, wait. I own the Scrubs DVD. Why am I not allowed to put an episode on my memory stick to watch while I'm on the bus? If it was any other bit of software, surely that would be an entirely viable thing, and the software would exist to do it. What Sony have learned from the iPod is that if you make cool stuff, people will buy it. What they have failed to learn is that it's a software and hardware connection between your computer. The iPod isn't popular just because the iPod is cool. The iPod is popular because the iTunes Music Store iPod connection is so good.
The whole community-based software, the content is actually what drives and what...
No, that's totally not what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. The fact that people can actually do all their own content, all their own stuff, and create their own things and then distribute them. And
no, that's totally not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, yes, they can do that, but most importantly, if you have your own stuff, if you have all your CDs ripped to your library, you can just say, put these on my iPod. Off they go.
Yeah.
That doesn't work on a PSP. You can't do anything like that. There's no interface to help you. There's no programs to make it easier. There's no streamlining. There's no anything. It's just clumsy. You have to have things capitalized the right way to make them work. It's ridiculous. They've got just no concept of how to make a good interface, and they seem to have just gone with, you know what, we'll just give them instructions that they can search through a web page to find. And by the way, they've made their web page even worse. It's now impossible to find content, and they've got a stupid website for doing it.
I
don't care. Move on.
No, I sympathise with you. Everything you're saying, it's like, yeah, that is amazingly stupid, and it seems just short-sighted and frustrating and annoying.
There is one other major problem with the PSP, though, at this point. All the games are crap.
All of them?
Well, a lot of the ones I've played.
You haven't played that many.
I haven't played that many, but...
So how can you say that?
Because...
The games that you have played?
Because a lot of the games that are... Even the ones that are good really aren't that good.
Like a Rocco.
Like a Rocco's pretty good, but it's not very good for that long.
What about Liberty City Stories?
Look, when did Liberty City Stories come out?
I don't know.
At least 6 months ago.
There's other games.
There's nothing.
You haven't looked. You don't play.
You think I haven't looked?
I think you haven't looked.
I have looked, man. There's not much out there.
Is there lots coming out for the DS?
Yes. Many exciting games.
Man, I tell you what, I wouldn't have thought that we'd be saying what we're saying now about a year ago, hey?
No, the tide has turned. The DS has become cool, and the DS Lite's been a big help.
Yeah.
Between the DS Lite and the...
Black DS? Or
No, the Nintendogs and those kind of games. Those little gateway sort of games.
Nintendo Touch.
Yeah. All that sort of stuff, just making things simple and making things fun.
Just on a little bit of a tangent on the topic of Nintendo, I went to a mate's LAN day on the weekend just gone. Or LAN night. It went from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I was very excited about it. I haven't actually been or had a chance to go to any sort of LAN for quite a while, and this was a console LAN sort of thing. And we had 2 Xbox 360s and 2 big projectors. We're very excited about hooking them up and networking them together. And it's like, this is really cool. It's going to be heaps of fun. We got 4 controllers on each one, so we got 8 people and massive screens and everything like this. And Yeah, they lasted for about half an hour before someone else plugged in their GameCube and Donkey Konga. And then everyone else ran off with their DS Lites to play networked Dr. Kawashira's brain training.
Yeah.
And then some people plugged in their laptops and played StarCraft, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually.
no, that's cool.
But I was just very disappointed that like this massive group of gamers. It's like
it's always a really interesting thing what works multiplayer and what doesn't.
Fascinating. I was absolutely fascinated. Some things. One of the main things I learned though, the difference between a Xbox 360 that is plugged in via high definition and one that is plugged in just via the normal composite cables is massive when it comes to multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because you have people screaming, "I couldn't see anything," and they can see everything. Like, it is a difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Even on a massive projector, all the four players that were playing on the normal composite cable one, it was really difficult to see in some of the levels, whereas the high definition one, we played a lot of Ghost Recon, which I thought would be the ultimate. I mean, team-based, squad-based, tactical, everyone playing together, and no, it turned into running and gunning, and people going, "Can we plug in Donkey Konga now?"
Yeah.
And having to say, "No, damn it, we spent the last half hour trying to get this set up." Oh, might I also add, because I brought my 360 and we hired another 360 out from the video store, right? If you don't have a hard drive, I didn't actually know this.
No, you were telling me about this earlier. This is not cool.
If you don't have a hard drive, and if you don't have like a little memory stick, I don't know. You do get a memory stick for that.
I don't know anymore.
I'm sure you do. If you don't have a hard drive, there's nowhere to save your profile. And because we'd hired this out, there was no hard drive. It was just a standard thing, and there was no memory thing for it, so we couldn't save a profile. And for example, Project Gotham 3, if you can't save a profile, if you have no profile, you cannot play multiplayer games. That sucks.
Yeah.
So we couldn't actually play that system linked. And
so could you play it by yourself?
Yeah. Oh no. I don't know.
Like if you hired one.
Yeah.
And Project Gotham Racing, do you get home and go, crap?
I don't know. We didn't actually try that. Or maybe
I guess you'd need a memory card, because that's always been a factor.
Oh, no, sorry, yes, it did. You could. It worked. It worked fine. It was just you needed, because you had to, in order to play the multiplayer games, you actually need to set up the profiles in the fundamental Xbox 360 interface sort of thing, right? So, on my Xbox 360 now, I've still got like about 6 profiles from everyone that's set up their things. So yeah, if you can't set up multiple profiles, then you can't play a multiplayer game. Ghost Recon worked fine though, but they just couldn't. They didn't need their own profiles. They were just player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. But it was just like, geez, man. I mean, even on the Super Nintendo, you could like. Oh, they were cartridge based, I guess. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I was pissed off about that. Pissed off we went so much effort to network these 360s and
I need to play Donkey
Konga, which was fun, don't get me wrong, but it sort of just felt a little bit like a waste of... I mean, the whole point of a LAN... Anyway, I'm raving now, so let's...
Yes, it's been boring for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you know, you had...
Yeah, no, that's why I let you go. I figured it was only fair to bore our listeners in turns.
Great. Just quickly, Microsoft buys soccer, which is not soccer, it's football.
Yeah, we had a bit of a quick argument about this, and the unfortunate thing is we do agree anyway. But it is football.
But if we said Microsoft buys football...
It's a bit ambiguous. Yeah, so we decided to say soccer, and people can just yell at us and say, it's football. Basically, we don't care, you're right, move on.
Basically, it's an announcement that Microsoft made at the Leipzig... Leipzig. Sounds like a cough medicine.
It is, yeah. It's a city/cough medicine.
Right. The Leipzig Games... What?
It's just funny the way you say it.
Shut up. The Games Convention, which is that they have exclusively got Pro Evo Soccer, or Pro Evo 206, or...
Oh, I don't know.
The next game of the series, which neither me or Matt have actually played. No. Unfortunately, but we hear it's very good.
Apparently,
we hear it's better than FIFA, and they've also got FIFA 07 exclusive on the Xbox 360
for 12 months.
Yeah. Now the reason this is interesting is because first of all, it's competing the top football games, respectively, are both exclusive to the one console. I haven't heard of that before.
No, that's a pretty big deal, and this is at the time when the PlayStation 3 is going to be launching. That means the PlayStation 3 will be launching in the not in the United States, in Europe with no soccer games. Which isn't that big a deal in Australia because soccer...
Disagree. Actually, it is a big deal in
Australia.
It is
a big deal now. And it is a relatively big deal. Shut up! Shut up!
It's a podcast. I don't shut up.
Shut up for 10... No. All I was saying is it's not...
Attack there.
Yeah, I know. I just felt like it. It's not as big a deal in the United States.
Yeah.
It's not as big a deal here, but in Europe, that's a massive deal.
So, the only reason I want to pull you up on that is because in America, in the US, they've got the Madden games or ice hockey, and they are very popular games going for ages, and they are good, well put together games.
Yeah.
In Australia,
we
have
a bit of a shortage of decent sports games
and
Australian
games, which on the most part are fairly average.
Well, they're not really very good games for that kind of.
No, they're not.
Not very good sports for that kind of game.
And Australians as well, we don't really get into the Madden game.
No,
I guess
some people do.
Good, but the soccer games, Australia, that's probably one of the more popular sports games that we actually do pick up and
but not by comparison to Europe. I would still have to argue that, and that's my whole point.
Sure, but this is Australian gamer, and especially after the whole World Cup thing, it will make a difference.
All right,
anyway,
whatever.
I see what you're saying, though. In Europe, it's a big deal because they love their football sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that is a very interesting thing, and kudos to Microsoft for actually for pulling that off.
How the hell they pulled that off?
I don't know. I wonder if they didn't tell the other company.
I mean,
Did they just not mention it to the FIFA people that they were
just
in negotiations with?
Well, FIFA's EA.
They might just not have mentioned it to EA, and at the same time, they might not have mentioned the EA deal.
It's Microsoft. I would think it's more money that...
they just reached into their pocket.
Yeah, more likely they just said, yeah, how much?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Do you take a check? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Truck full of money? Yeah,
Truck full of money? Yep, great.
So backing it up now. Beep, beep, beep. That's the sound of a truck backing up.
No, I gathered that.
Yeah,
thought you didn't really need to elaborate with...
No, but I thought because it is like a radio kind of thing, that a bit of
we should put
audio
some sound
sort
effects
of,
in. Make it more exciting.
Yeah.
Because you're boring.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal. We wanted to have some news from Leipzig itself, but as far as we can tell, the news is kind of no news.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a lot of criticism of it just being plain boring.
Well, I mean, it's the moment.
It's E3 too, apparently.
There's. God. In my defense, it has. Shall I answer it?
Yeah, go on. Did they hang up?
They did hang up, but I just like the fact I tried to put this to my ear, and I forgot that we're actually wearing headphones.
Yeah, okay, move on.
Okay, I'll just...
What was going to be in your defense, anyway?
What were we talking about?
We were talking about you getting a phone call in the middle of the podcast.
In my defense, I haven't left that on for quite a few podcasts.
Okay, so the fact that you're an idiot now...
Yes.
...is somehow diminished by the fact that you failed to be an idiot previously.
Yes, absolutely. Because, usually I'd forget things within a couple of minutes. I remembered to put that on silent for at least 5 podcasts.
See, I don't put mine on silent, but thankfully no one likes me and I have no friends, so, hey, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the Leipzig... I mean, it's Thursday night that we're recording this right now, so it is on... for the next couple of days. So
it has just started. For all we know, by the time you actually listen to this, it could be announced that the Wii is in fact a transformer and will turn into a robot, run around and clean your house. God, I hope that happens. How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
Because it's already cool enough. It might as well be a little transformer dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's retarded.
Yes.
Basically, the one thing that we've got now of it so far, because, I mean, it's similar setup to... Well, not similar setup, but... The very first thing that happens is Nintendo have their press conference, Microsoft have their press conference. Sony didn't have a press conference.
Sony decided to just give the finger instead.
Well, they hand out press kits or something like that, which is just basically the same as saying...
No, they just got everyone pissed. They just got everyone to this room and said, here's the booze, here's the crackers, go nuts.
Yeah, no they didn't, because that would be pretty cool.
No, they did. That's what they did.
Really?
Yeah, all they had was drinks and like, here's your press kit, here's your booze. Off you go, which to me is
Actually, you know what?
pretty honest.
Fair call.
They should have just had a guy come out and going, we got nothing, and then just walked off.
We got nothing, but enjoy the booze. Well, by the sounds of it, that was probably more exciting than Nintendo's press conference, in which they didn't really do much.
No, except say exactly the same things that
Reggie
already said. So
and just show off a couple. Whereas Microsoft, talked about obviously the
theft
football
of soccer.
franchises, that they've got, and a couple of, I
Forza
think they showed
2
off
and
a lot of Forza 2 stuff, and they were fairly. It didn't take much for them to steal the.
Yeah, exactly. Microsoft are still in the good position, which they have been since E3 and before. They've got a product. It's out the door. It's there. People are buying it. People are playing it. They've got stuff to show. They've got new games to show. Plus, they're also in the enviable position of having second generation games coming out now.
Where was?
Which always look good.
I can't remember where I read it now, but I did read that Microsoft actually have committed. They have got 100 titles coming out before Christmas this year.
Oh, that's
for the
pretty
360.
impressive.
I might be completely wrong. It may have been 10.
What's a 0?
10.
It might have
100.
been. It might have been 010. Who knows?
Okay, it was basically. I'm pretty sure it was 100, and it
couldn't be 10.
Whatever it was, I read it and went, "Wow, that's actually quite a few.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive."
Yeah.
And it is impressive that they're going to have so many games out. I mean, the Wii is going to launch with 27 games. Right. The 360 has how many games already?
And 100 more coming out.
Don't get me wrong. I actually don't think the Wii is a direct competitor to the 360.
No. And certainly to have 27 games on launch is impressive.
It is impressive. I mean, I feel bad trying to predict anything because I thought that the PSP would trounce all over the DS,
which it did for a little while.
Yes,
but very briefly when it first came out, it was like, wow, this has so much potential.
But in the
when the games start coming out,
in the same respect, right now, I don't want to turn around and say, you know what, the PlayStation 3 is going to flop because of all these factors which are completely obvious to me right now.
I actually read a really interesting interview with, I can't remember, is his name Phil Blackman?
You're very good at remembering things.
The dude who got tattooed with Halo and stuff. The Microsoft dude.
Not Peter Moore.
Peter Moore?
Peter Moore.
I read a really good interview with him where they were asking him about the PlayStation 3 and how he thought it'd do. Yep. And he just outright said, any brand new console will sell its first run. They will sell out. Because they were asking him about the price, and he basically said outright, they can charge what they want for it. They will sell out of it. Which I thought was an interestingly honest thing. And another thing they asked is the popularity of peripheral-based games.
Yep.
Guitar Hero, Dance Dance Revolution, and SingStar, iToy, that kind of thing, and how successful that they've been on the Sony side.
Yep.
Particularly the PlayStation 2, obviously, but the PlayStation 3 will carry that through as well.
Say?
And he did make a lot of points about how interesting that is, and that's something they're going to start looking at as well soon. So it'll be very interesting to see.
They better hurry up because
Sony's stitching it up, and Sony's done a very nice job of it.
That's certainly one section that the Xbox
has
the Xbox
always been dire.
Always been lacking. I mean,
even the games that were cross-platform, we couldn't get. We've talked before about Dance Dance Revolution.
Dance Dance Revolution stuff. And even before SingStar came out, I do remember there was Xbox Music Mixer.
I got that at my place, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. And which I thought would be cool. It was literally just karaoke, but there were no movies, there were no music.
There was nothing much to it. It was very basic karaoke.
They did have
songs.
New York, which I did enjoy.
That wasn't bad.
And they did have YMCA, which you enjoyed, as I recall. So it worked out well.
YMCA is a good party sort of song because everyone knows it and everyone can just camp it up a bit.
You know
Except
what?
you just saying it straight.
No, it's just because I don't know the verses. It's sort of like YMCA, and there goes young man.
Something about young man.
Young man. Okay, we are not singing YMCA.
We're not singing YMCA on the podcast.
We just did. All right.
No,
we
are bits of it.
We are running out of time here. Just quickly skipping through. Texas Hold'em is available on the Xbox Live. For those of you that don't actually play poker, just close your ears for the next 30 seconds because you won't care. And
can you not make it 30 seconds? Because that's actually surprisingly a long time. And does this count?
Yes, this right now. I've already told
so
them
this
to block
part
their
counts.
Ears. So we're down to like 15 seconds now.
All right, can you cram it in?
Yeah, sure. It was available for 48 hours, but by the time you listen to this, that's over, so you have to pay 800 points to get it. But it looks really cool.
No, it was available for free. That's an important part.
For
you
48
forgot to mention
hours.
the free. Free is important.
We just went over 15 seconds. What are you doing, dude?
All right, moving on. So, Texas Hold'em, blah, 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 boring.
We
had one last question which we might talk about for just a couple of minutes, which is Peter Molyneux was quoted as stating that he feels that the Wii games might be a bit too exhausting for
I'm
the
not
poor
sure.
punters.
Did he actually say... Yeah, he did say the Wii specifically.
Yeah, he did specifically say the Wii because he basically was talking about the
Wii.
the controller being, motion sensy and all that kind of stuff might be a bit too physical for us, slacker gamers.
Slacker gamers.
What do you think of that? Do you think that's a point? And I agree and disagree in some points. One thing I would have to say is when you compare it to something like Dance Dance Revolution, it's not even going to be in the same league. But that being said, have you ever played those light gun games for any length of time?
Yeah.
God damn, your arms get sore. And it's not from the weight of the controller, it's from holding your arm in one position. And if you're constantly going to be driving something and moving something with your arm outstretched,
admittedly, there was always a concern with the Wii, as far as I was concerned, which is, not so much the driving games and stuff, because you can sort of put your arms down.
True.
Metroid.
Yeah, you're going to be shooting at stuff.
It is a light gun game, but Metroid is not a fast-paced, constant. It is an exploration.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time sort of wandering around in Metroid, and you're going to be spending a lot of time wandering around with your arm outstretched.
But I guess, will you though? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, do you use that to look? I thought you used the thumbstick, so I would imagine you'll actually spend most of the time with the light gun, with the remote at your side as you're moving around with this one.
I don't know, I mean...
And then when stuff comes up, you'll be like, oh, and then you'll move your arm, it'll be bang, 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 as opposed to holding... But if it's a stressful, dramatic
yeah, it depends
bit,
on the pace,
like
and it could be...
a boss battle that goes for 10 or 15 minutes, for example, man, that's going to actually be a bit strainful.
But that being said, also, it might be that it starts slower paced and builds up, so by the time you're actually at the boss battles... You've actually built up the... No, that's what I mean. You'll have actually, because you won't be doing this all in one night, you'll have actually built up a certain level of... Because I used to play House of the Dead and games like that all the time, and I just ended up not having a problem holding the gun. So we'll probably build up giant right shoulders.
Which will just look like we masturbate all the time.
No, then again, if that didn't do it...
You already have a giant shoulder.
And left. Ambidextrous.
Talented. You know what? I can't even... I think there's a problem. I just don't want to admit it until I've actually got my hands on a Wii and I've played Zelda for 5 hours. And then, once my arm, I can't actually feel it anymore. Then I'll turn around and go, there might be some flaws with this control method.
Yeah.
You
I have to say, just probably as a fairly reasonable way of closing, Peter Molyneux might have a point, but he still made Fable. And I just can't forgive me for that or listen again.
Yeah.
Fable made me angry.
Everything makes you angry.
Fable made me angry because it had so much potential and it didn't live up to it. Just like the PSP. God, we're turning into the Australian Gamer podcast. That's not cool. Not the Australian Gamer. I actually meant to say another company and I said us. The Angry Gamer podcast. We sound like that?
You're turning into the Angry Gamer podcast.
Whatever. Are we done here?
You're done here. Yeah, we're done. That's it for this week. Oh, and by the way, just before we go. First of all, the Chrome article is up online for anyone who wants to read that. I did hear a bit of feedback from people at Chrome that read it. They enjoyed the picture that we provided of the blow-up inflatable Spyro toy passed out drunk on my balcony, surrounded by beer and cigarettes.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm not sure how Vivendi will react to that, but I don't think they'll care, actually.
No, because it is just clearly an inflatable Spyro that someone's put there for a photo of.
Although, the impression that I've gotten is they tend to be very cross the T's, dot the I's. Yeah, they did revise. I mean, fundamentally it was the same. It was mainly just adding lots of TMs and
TM to the end of everything.
Stuff like that. But, they thoroughly went through and they had to send it over to the States and get the article all checked properly and made sure everything.
The lawyers had to check it and
They took
stuff.
out. I can say that. Can I say? I don't know if I can say.
Just
this.
say it. Who cares?
They took out the bit in the interview with Steve about the shoes.
Yeah.
The shoes. We were making jokes in the interview that like.
When you're the boss, you
when
don't
you're
even
the
have
boss,
to
you
wear
don't have to wear
shoes and stuff.
shoes.
And they took that out.
And he's like, yeah, no one wears shoes around here, blah blah. And there's a little funny
Presumably
little
that just
anecdote.
wasn't corporate-y enough
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
just not professional enough. Which I would have thought that even letting us in the front door would immediately...
Yeah, but anyway, the other thing I just wanted to quickly mention, briefly, while this page loads.
Hi,
is
I'm Jürgen, I'm stalling.
AX on the forum was just, if you're in Adelaide this weekend, there's a LAN party, Central LAN. That's it. Actually, you know what? I can't be bothered to talk anymore about. I'll make a post on the front page.
Yeah, whatever.
But if you're there, you should go to that because it's Lanny.
Yes. I also wanted
Lanny.
to say a quick shout out to Devastated 2K4, who I actually abused on the last podcast. And I actually have had a bit of a chance to talk to him, and our disagreement and our conflict, the source of our conflict was in fact Yug.
Really?
Yeah, he just gave me this garbled message of what someone said.
In my defense, serves you right for not reading our own goddamn forums.
Serves you right for... So we'll be back next
week. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
See you later, guys.
See you later.